So last night something interesting happened in the room. Jumped on the mic to warn people. I said, "Okay, listen, we've gone up quite a bit, a very short period of time, and we're approaching the the block size news or the scaling news or the lock-in, getting down to the countdown." And it just so happened that approaching that also happened to coincide very closely to a prior resistance area. So I jumped on the mic and I said, "Listen, I'm not selling any Bitcoin, but," I said, you want to keep your eyes on the smaller time frames on the charts, because we could see a big sell on the news event, and I've got my finger on the trigger to scalp a short." Right? So I was just waiting. I was looking at the minute chart and I was waiting. And I said, the closer we get to that news event, I said, basically what you might end up seeing on the chart is a big red candle that looks like an explosion on the chart, right? And that's when you can pull the trigger and short. So anyways, literally probably 5 minutes after I said that on the mic, we had the big red explosion and shorted, and then got to basically scalp some of this nice volatility. I was basically shorting, buying, like I was just rolling with it, shorting, buying dip, shorting, buying dips. I just kept on playing these little waves here, scalping, and then it got a little tighter, and that was that. And there's a lot of people in the room trading as well. So this isn't like a huge, this isn't anything like ridiculous, but 10% range, not a very big range for like a swing trade or anything like that. This just kind of looks like some consolidation to me. But as far as scalping is concerned, this was actually several $100s of bouncing around was made for some good scalping. So this is the kind of thing that I absolutely love about the markets, is how bloody mechanical and predictable people are, right? To the point where you can be like, all right, well, at this time when the news is announced, just keep your eyes, and you don't even have to guess. And I said, don't just like short into this. I said, just wait till you see it roll over and then pull the trigger. You can cheat. You watch Bitfinex, you trade on BitMax, right? I mean, what's the problem? I don't guess when I'm scalping. I just watch where the market's going and I just follow along for the ride and play the waves, right? So anyways, so that was good. Nice little profitable night scalping. Still holding my long position. I'm not getting shaken out just because we hit a resistance area. I don't care. If we were to get like a nice dip or something on the weekend, I might even play around with another bounce play long or whatnot. So, but I'm still riding. I'm still riding. So, I had an interesting question that was emailed to me, and the question was about the break of the trend line, and the question was, I cut out of the trade when the trend line broke. I was under the impression that every time the trend line, immediate trend line breaks, that I should cut out, right? And I guess that person assumed that because this is kind of what I was doing, like through here, right? Anytime I'd cut out of a trade, it was when an immediate trend line broke, right? So they cut out. And the answer to that question is you have to look at the bigger picture, right? There's so much more to trading than just technical analysis and mechanical rules, right? It's like trading is like there's multiple pieces to the ingredient that you have to factor in to actually be proficient at trading. So technical analysis is one element. Fundamental analysis is another element. Market sentiment is another element. And also, I would dare say that trading is not only a science, but it's an art, as in you'll also cultivate instinct as well, right? That comes with experience. And instinct, and I don't mean like blind instinct, like not backed up by market principles and technical analysis. I'm not talking about the same kind of instinct that noobs have when they fly by the seat of their pants and they just like chase the markets based on their emotions, right? I'm not talking about that kind of instinct. I'm talking about a refined instinct that comes from experience, that usually has a contrarian mindset, that usually comes with controlling one's emotions and understanding technical analysis and paying attention to market sentiment and looking at the fundamentals and knowing the greater market behavior, right? So I would say that I relied on instincts just as much as I relied on all those other factors. I put all those factors together, and then I have to make a call to pull the trigger if I feel it, you know? I have to, sometimes I get a very strong vibe when all those factors line up, and I just go based on that. But it's supported by things. It's not just blind random instincts. So if you try to trade mechanically on any one of those factors without factoring in the entire recipe, then chances are you might not be very successful in your trades. If you try to trade purely based on blind technical analysis without factoring in anything else, then you might do all right, but this is also Bitcoin. It does some crazy stuff. Like, I'll give you an example. We had some old school classical technical analysis guys who've been in stocks for 30 plus 40 50 years type of thing, and posting charts about this being a French curve parabolic blow off, right? And like, yeah, they're right. This is certainly a French curve parabolic blow off, but there's so many other factors, and this is also Bitcoin, right? There's so many other factors that you have to put into to play. And you could also say that it also created a massive bull flag, right? Like the mother of all bull flags, right? So you got to look at everything. You have to look at the markets from a holistic perspective, right? Don't get tunnel vision or isolate any one component. Look at all of it as like one holistic perspective. So I'll give you guys a full kind of analysis of how I came to the conclusion that we were about to flip into Mega Bull, right? And that was a fairly bold move and bold conclusion, and also conclusion that it wasn't a dead cat bounce. So you've got to kind of read the market all around. A, read the market that we're going to get a bounce play and not bleed down further. B, read the market and discern that it's not just going to be a dead cat bounce, lower high, and continuation breakdown. B, to read the market and determine that I still want to hold even when we test resistance and even in spite of having a pullback. And so there's no like absolute cookie cutter rules, right? When you apply everything in conjunction, instinct is the type of thing that will teach you when to buy, when to sell, and when to hold and trend ride, right? And there's an art to that. It's not something that just comes easy. It's not something that you can just watch on a video or read in a book and then cultivate that instinct. Experience is your best teacher, right? So I'll go over like all the various different factors. So you guys already know all the technical reasons why this is a good dip buy and so on and so forth. You also know that market psychology and behavior, and I've been talking about how when I see everyone on Twitter sitting in cash, like, oh, I've got dip buys here, I've got some down here, yeah, I'm not buying, I'm waiting down here, then okay, so step one is, okay, it hit a technical area of support, right? Step 2, market behavior. It had multiple days of sell-off, right? If we just submit these green pauses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, plus combine that with 4 days of sell-off, which is an anomaly. Usually it's a 3-day sell-off and then the bounce. So 4 days, making it even more exaggerated, right? So those are some factors in market behavior, right? Counterforce, anytime. Step 3, looking at the larger trend, looking at how this is the backside, and we've been in the backside for like over a month, right? Since like the beginning of June, we've been in the backside of the trend. This is all backside. See, red, 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 red. Every single bounce is kind of being like a dead cat. Red, 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 right? Backside of the trend, right? Tells me that, based on those dynamics, told me that if we were to bounce off of this area, we would likely start a fresh bull trend and create a new front side of a new trend. Combine that with a nice momentum indicator, right? On the larger time frame. Look, the weekly time frame, see? Right? Weekly crossed over stochastic, crossed under down here, crossed under, you know. The 3-day crossed under. The 1 day, we're getting a recharge, a momentum recharge on the trend on all of these different time frames while we're hitting that double bottom after multiple days of sell-off. Made me take a pause and say, holy smokes, we're probably in for like the mother of bounce plays coming up, and I'm just gonna be patient and trend ride, right? Also, knowing how to be a contrarian. Too many traders apply a cookie cutter approach to everything. And Bitcoin works very, very beautifully with technical analysis. Very beautiful charts, very precise a lot of times. But when you see too many people looking at the same areas, too many people trying to play by the same rules and game plan, chances are you know the market is going to do something to throw all those people off. Bitcoin is like a madman, okay? Bitcoin is like the Joker, the Bitcoin markets, right? Bitcoin will throw the most messed up curveball that you can imagine. When everybody's waiting for one thing, expect that Bitcoin's going to throw a curveball and completely shove the unexpected in most people's faces, right? So you also, thinking like, what's the most weirdest, messed up thing Bitcoin can do to throw everybody off right now? You got to think like a madman and a strategist, and that's going to help you be a contrarian. So I see everybody, and listen, when I say everybody, initially that was me too, right? I'm not exempting myself from the cookie cutter approach. Listen, I sent out a trade alert. I said I want to buy some down here. I want to buy some down here. And then when I saw everyone else doing that, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I don't know if I want to be on the same team as everyone else, because everyone else is usually wrong. That's why only like a few people make money, or smaller percentage, and the majority of the markets lose money, So when too many people are looking for the exact same thing, you should start to think against the herd and train yourself. So then I was like, forget it. YOLO. Now or never. I'm not too many people sitting in cash. I know what can happen. The price starts to move up and all those cash buyers completely go nuts, right? And then on top of that, too many people had targets at 2,200 and 2,400. And then I saw too many people who weren't buying, who were just waiting for the 2,400 breakout. So now I'm seeing a combination. I'm seeing, okay, this is an interesting combination. Think of it this way. Okay, we had some dip buyers down here in the trenches. We had some pro traders who bought the dip in the trenches, right? Some of them bought lower than I did. But a lot of those people had set targets at 2,200 and 2,400. So then I thought to myself, and then I know a whole bunch of people are sitting on cash on the sidelines, waiting to buy the breakout on 2400. And then I know there's probably a bunch of new money, smart money investors who haven't even bought Bitcoin, who are just waiting on the fundamental news, the fundamental value investors who would pull the trigger and buy on news of segregated witness getting locked in. So now, all of a sudden, I realize psychologically there's three types of buyers waiting on the sideline for the breakout. There are the ones who bought low in the dip, who took profit at 22 or 24, that tried to get too cute with the market. Maybe they're expecting to buy a lower dip and they didn't get it. Then you got the breakout traders waiting for confirmation, sitting on the sidelines, waiting to pull the trigger. Then you've got all the value investors waiting for the fundamental news event to lock in on segregated witness. And so the end result is nobody gets to buy the 2400 breakout because they're all chasing it at the same time. And boom, right? And this is what happens. Let me show you. So this is what happens when everybody's looking at the exact same line, the exact same breakout, and they're all going to pull the trigger together. It's like Black Friday, right? Nobody gets the cookie, right? How many people get the cookie? How many of these people are going to get to buy what they want, right? Because they're all racing at the same time. You know, why not wait till after Black Friday, or why not just buy it online, or why not just buy it early and forget about waiting all night and camping out all night so you can claw people's eyes out to go buy Tickle Me Elmo, right? I mean, so and so this is exactly what we see happening. So then you get a huge push. Not only that, let's add some more fuel to the fire. So you've got three types of buyers sitting on the sideline. Then you've also got stop orders from people who have stop orders for the breakout trade. You've got the stop orders for people who went short, and then you've got the short squeeze, and then you've got the liquidations because everyone's thinking, hey, it's a dead cat bounce, it's a dead cat bounce. Next thing you know, this line breaks and basically goes flying in everyone's face. And so you wanted to buy the breakout here, but the reality is you probably ended up buying it up here. And then some people didn't get it at all. And now those who didn't get it at all, the next stage is waiting for the dips, right? So the next round are the people waiting to buy the dips. Like, oh, I missed that breakout. Now I can't buy. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Oh, if I buy now, I could buy a top. Better wait for the correction. Better wait for the dip. Where's the dip? Hey, where's the dip? Oh my God, is this thing gonna dip? This is ridiculous, right? It's like it just keeps on going up, and next thing you know, they've missed out on hundreds of dollars of profit potential, right? So now, and then you get the correction, the classic sell on the news, right? So on and so forth. But I was saying, if people try to get too cute with the markets, chances are they're gonna get kicked off the bus. They're gonna lose their seat, right? There's a time to get cute with the markets and get all shifty and play around and cut out here and buy the bounce play and sell on strength and buy the dip, and you do the shuffle around and stuff like that. And then there's a time where you should just sit back and take a big ruler and smack yourself on the hand every time you feel like trading this. There's a time to ride a trend and get out of your way, get out of the market's way, and just relax, eat popcorn, drive your convertible on cruise control on a nice sunny day, and not overanalyze stuff. And then there's a time to play around and play the volatility, right? So, you gotta know when to ride a trend and when to get cute with the markets and cut out and take profit and buy back in and all this stuff. And from experience, I've learned that if you try to get cute on a strong bull trend, then chances are you're going to mess it up and you're going to end up having to buy in higher or whatever, right? I like to get cute when the markets are dumping. That's what I like to do. I like to buy on the dips and sell on the dead cats. That's what I like to play. This is when I shuffle because there's a lot of volatility here. This is when I do the shuffling, right, and play the volatility. But when I see evidence of strong bullishness, and I mean, this is some pretty strong evidence right there. I mean, yeah, of course, it's probably, you know, retrace. We could get a weekend sell-off, you know, or, you know, maybe everybody's expecting the weekend sell-off and maybe we just push up and break out and go in continuation. Maybe Bitcoin continues to throw everyone off because we're all habituated to the weekend sell-off, right? Everyone's like mechanical. Oh, it's the weekend, better sell. Oh, it's the weekend, better sell, better sell, better sell. Oh, it's Monday, better buy, you know, like, just like this correlation with altcoins, you know, everybody's like, oh, Bitcoin's bubbling again. Altcoins are going to bubble. So everyone's stocking up on altcoins, stocking up. Oh, waiting for the next altcoin bubble, right? Round 2. And it might happen. I'm not saying that it's not going to happen. But what I am saying is that I'm not jumping the gun and just assuming that just because altcoins bubbled hard when Bitcoin broke the all-time high, I'm not going to assume that that's going to continue to be the case, right? With altcoins, I'm not going to start loading the boat up on altcoins just because that's what we experienced in the past few months. In my opinion, I look at a lot of altcoins and I think that they've already hit full distribution and the party's over. You know, like, this doesn't look like, people are saying, oh, you know, this is an accumulation. Load up, folks. All altcoins are an accumulation. I'm not saying they're not going to bounce or they can't bubble again or make another push up. This is crypto. It can definitely do that. I will tell you that a lot of these high caps on Poloniex are not in accumulation. This is not what accumulation looks like. Right? You want to know what accumulation looks like? People just throw out words. They don't even know what they're talking about. This is what accumulation looks like. Right? This is, one sec. This, let me just do the Bitcoin chart. It's cleaner. This is what accumulation looks like. This is accumulation, okay? After the bear trend, after double bottom support, Adam and Eve double bottom support, after breakout of the descending trend line, after some boring months of sideways chop and accumulation of new floors established. That is what accumulation looks like. You're going to look at Ethereum chart, you're going to tell me this is accumulation? Right? So people just throw out terms. Okay, listen, I'm not saying Ethereum can't bounce. I'm not saying altcoins can't bounce. I'm not saying we're not going to get another wave and a bubble. I'm open to that, okay? I'm not married to my opinion. I'm completely open to that being a possibility. But I'm not going to jump the gun and assume that that's going to be a possibility right now just because we're in that habit, right? All last year, altcoins were inversely correlated with Bitcoin. And when we broke out of the all-time high, I assumed that that inverse correlation would happen, and then they became highly correlated, right? Now we've been conditioned, like Pavlov's dogs, salivating on the bell, that every time Bitcoin goes up, the markets are correlated, and everything will go up with it. But I don't know. I'm seeing some bounces, but I'm not seeing a lot of strength in a lot of altcoins right now. I'm still seeing a lot of red. I'm still seeing a lot of alts looking kind of gross on the charts. You know, like big descending triangles. I mean, that's not a bullish pattern. Yeah, it could break out, sure. I mean, and you could treat that as a breakout, but, you know. So I'd say it's more like a 50-50. I'm not going to short it either. Like, I'm not going to play on this right now, right? I have no opinion. My opinion is I'm leaning towards them losing their inverse correlation. And here's why. So I want to apply some market psychology. Altcoins bubbled hard because there was so much FUD in Bitcoin. And I think that the altcoin bubble has increased the price of Bitcoin. I think the price of Bitcoin was likely going up not because people were extremely bullish on Bitcoin, but because people needed to buy Bitcoin to get exposure to their favorite altcoins. Right? Because altcoins like Ethereum have gone up thousands of percent, like 4,000% or whatever, right? Bitcoin hasn't done that lately, right? Yeah, sure, from the bottom after 2 years. I'm just talking about the measured move from, the beginning of the year. I'm not talking about it went up, a whole ton. We all know it went up a whole ton, and it went up 1,400% since the bottom. But this was establishing a new floor and a new cycle, right? The real measurement comes from measuring how far it's gone up from the all-time high. That's where the real secret sauce is, right? How high up did it go from the all-time high, right? 149% gains from the all-time high. Look at prior Bitcoin bubbles, and, from the all-time high, at least on that one, we could see 347%. But all of this happened in the same year. So obviously, if you want to measure it from the all-time high at the beginning of the year, well, you're gonna get well into 6,000. Now, obviously, it was a new market, just like any altcoin. It goes parabolic and it's illiquid and stuff. But so there's that, right? So everyone's habituated to that. So I kind of think to myself, what would be the one thing that's going to throw everyone off and like mess up everyone's plan and trades? All these people shopping for altcoins right now, except for maybe some mid and low caps, because they're liquid, they could pump easily. I think a lot of the high caps on Polonio, and I could be wrong. Listen, I'm not married to my opinion, right? Like, I had someone on Twitter yesterday arguing with me over this point that I pointed out. And the difference between them and me is I actually don't care about this opinion. This is just a working hypothesis, right? Am I right? I have no idea if I'm right. I'll know if I'm right when I'm right, right? The markets will tell me if I'm right, and I've got news for you. The markets don't give a flying hoot what your opinions are, right? The markets don't care about our opinions, right? So are you in this to trade and make some money, or are you in this to be right and have some opinions and argue with people about opinions, right? The more time I spend arguing with people on Twitter, the less time I'm spending making money. So people can waste their time arguing about opinions. I throw out a hypothesis based on a possibility, and that's all I'm doing, right? I've been wrong multiple times in the past few months, and I've still been crushing it, making a ton of money, right? You have to be fluid, you have to change your sentiment and adapt, right? So that's basically it. Don't be stubborn. I'm a bull, I'm a bear. No, this guy's trying to argue with me, telling me, oh, if that's the case, then it'll destroy the whole ecosystem. And he's trying to give me math formulas and stuff about supply and demand and stuff. And I'm just like, man, just I had to take a picture of this, and in moments like that, there's a twisted part of me that really wants that to be an accurate assessment, because sometimes a part of my inverse correlated indicator is when people come out at sometimes I'll use Twitter almost as bait, and I'll throw something out to see what market sentiment is. And when I start to get a lot of people trolling me about something and arguing, then it kind of like hits a check mark on my box. I'm like, okay, I think I might be closer to being right, because people are getting really emotional about this. And that's the difference between those people wasting their time arguing with random Twitter people versus me, is I'm not emotionally attached to that outcome. Hey, if altcoins want to bubble again, and we break all-time highs, and they all go into another crazy bubble, and we can buy some breakouts and do another 10x in altcoins, then hallelujah, all the power to the altcoins, right? Like, who cares? Like, who cares? Right? All I'm saying is that I have an empty cup right now. My hands are open. I'm willing to trade whatever the markets, the Dow of the markets throws at me, right? I have a hypothesis that Bitcoin might take its market dominance back because of this scaling drama. I have a hypothesis that, you know, emotionally and psychologically in the markets, that because everyone's habituated to altcoins being correlated and going up with Bitcoin, and because I look at a lot of the charts on altcoins, especially the, maybe not the low caps or the mid caps, but definitely the ones on Poloniex, because I look at that and I see that a lot of them just look like they've hit a full distribution cycle and all already bubbled and popped. Because Bitcoin has been the most modest crypto market of them all, modest with its gains compared to these other clown coins that have gone up ridiculous prices, I'm watching certain things. I don't just throw out a hypothesis and don't pay attention. Bitcoin now has more trading volume than Ethereum. Last week, Ethereum had double the trading volume of Bitcoin. That tide is shifting, right? I'm not seeing altcoins on Poloniex jumping up ridiculous gains after Bitcoin made a big move. What I think we could end up seeing psychologically is if Bitcoin breaks the all-time high, okay? If Bitcoin actually breaks the all-time high and we get real Bitcoin FOMO, we haven't had Bitcoin FOMO, okay? This was not Bitcoin FOMO. All right, this was altcoin bubble FOMO. Nobody was FOMOing Bitcoin, right? The market sentiment for Bitcoin was still very low and it was still bullish, right? People have been crapping all over Bitcoin for years now. Nah, you've got scaling problems. Us altcoins are so good. We're going to dethrone the king, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what they say, hubris comes before the fall, right? So, you know, euphoria. Altcoins are all euphoric. Oh, we're so euphoric. Nah. You know, Bitcoin has had the lowest market dominance that it ever had, you know. So, again, let me show you something else. Right? Imagine this was a chart. Imagine you were buying Bitcoin on this chart. Okay, so this is the market dominance indicator between Bitcoin and imagine this was a chart, right? So this is the altcoin charts, right? Which is very evident that it's gone completely parabolic, right? When altcoins go from a total market cap of, you know, what is that, 3.7 billion to a market cap of 70 billion in the course of a few months, when it goes from $66 million in trading volume to, you know, $3.1 billion in trading volume, in a few months, you know, if you were to look at any, and look at this chart and look at all the altcoins. Look at this chart and look at Ethereum, for example. We'll just deal with the queen of altcoins here, right? Look at that chart, right? And look at this chart. Don't they look identical to you? Right? Now, this is the Bitcoin dominance, right? Imagine you're a hungry shark looking to buy some blood on a dip buy, right? And if you saw this on any chart, you would think maybe this could be a nice V-bottom in market dominance. So we hit 30% and it's already increased to 46. Now, obviously, altcoins could still recover, but on a psychological level, nobody FOMO'd Bitcoin because Bitcoin had too much FUD and Bitcoin was still very, very bullish despite all the FUD, right? So I'm also taking like market sentiment and market emotional cycles into play in my analysis. And I'm trying to think about this in a systematic way and as a contrarian, right? I'm playing off of everyone's emotions in the markets and how predictable they all are, right? Yeah, I'm recording this. Believe me, most traders are very, very predictable, right? Even when it comes to TA, they're all looking at the same stuff, thinking the same thoughts and stuff, right? So you got to take that into your analysis, because at the end of the day, when you really break it down, because it's a zero-sum game, everybody out there on the battlefield is the enemy, right? They're trying to take your money, you're trying to take their money. That's the rough, harsh truth of it all, right? Not everyone's going to be a winner, right? I saw some clowns trying to short Bitcoin right here, right? Like, okay. All right. Anyways. So, now that we have some, this is called a relief rally. You want to talk about the mother of all relief rallies. What happens when you have 2 years of FUD, a bullish market that's getting beaten and hammered down by 2 years of fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and the honey badger still continues to ride? What happens when all of a sudden the causation to all that FUD and hitting the brakes, suddenly it shows that there's some clarity. Suddenly it shows that, hey, Bitcoin's not going to split in two, right? What happens? You release the thing that was suppressing the price, right? You get a relief rally. You get oh my God, Bitcoin's not going to split. Load the boat, FOMO, boom, right? Right? We haven't experienced the Bitcoin FOMO yet, folks. Not like the altcoins. So this is why I'm just being patient. I might even just set $5,000 targets. I know 4,000 was cute, but you know, if we continue to make strong moves in volume like this, then a 1.618 extension, in my opinion, wouldn't be out of the question. Heck, there's a part of me that I think I'm going to bump up and increase my long-term Bitcoin holdings. I think I'm going to take half of my capital now and keep half of it as an investment, even to weather the bear storm, and the rest for trading, actually. I think I'm going to increase that now that we have more clarity and stuff, because who knows? Who knows? Maybe I say, oh, 5,000. Who the heck knows? Maybe we go to 10. I don't want to get outrageous, but you know, these markets are pretty outrageous, right? So I'm not gonna get like exaggeratedly bullish. Initially, my target was 4,000, but after seeing the strength of this bounce, I think if we were to break out, I don't know. We'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if we hit 4,000 sooner than later on a breakout here. You know, these candles are starting to get big. Right? There's a lot of money sitting on the sidelines. Now I'm not going to be a perma bull, right? If I need to adapt, I adapt, right? Obviously, like, pay attention. Miners could try to mess with people too, right? Maybe they try to play games or whatever, say like, oh, we're going to stop signaling or this and that, right? Like, you never know. They could try to shake out the markets. I think the miners were playing chicken with everybody, likely knowing that they had control over the price. And, you know, for all we know, they also loaded up down here as well, right? A lot of those miners also own exchanges and also trade. So, you know, when they have that much influence over the markets and the price, you got to think that they're probably gaming people as much as they can, messing up people as much as they can, so that they can, you know, maybe they shorted, you know, maybe Jihan or whatever shorts, and then they start messing around, right? Putting out FUD posts. Oh, we're going to create Jihan coin. I'm going to split the network. I'm going to 51% attack your network. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. FUD, all coming from the miners. And all of a sudden, oh, it hits a bottom. And then they all start signaling. Oh, now we want SegWit. Yeah, let's bring it on, right? Well, like, who's gaming people, right? Who's gaming the system right now, right? You're absolutely right. There could still be a hard fork, and things can still change on a fundamental level. Nothing of what I'm saying right now is absolutely sealed, guaranteed, right? Nothing is what I'm saying. I can have convictions in my hypothesis and still look at the other side and still be open to changing my mind, right? I'm not married to my opinions. I don't care that much about my opinions. All I want to do is make money in these markets. Adapt or die is my motto, right? I was feeling pretty darn bearish when we were breaking down until we hit these levels, and then all of a sudden I flipped into a bull really very quickly. I flipped into a bull, right? Even when things looked absolutely bloody and I was covered in my own blood the next day, I was still a bull, right? So that's how quickly I can flip the switch on my thinking, right? And it doesn't mean I'm wishy-washy. It just means that I'm playing the waves, right? I'm playing the waves. I mean, we were bearish up here. When I was calling for bearishness in this zone, I was right. We were bearish and we broke down, and we had some permabulls that didn't sell and were just like finding reasons not to sell. And I said, guys, clean up. And you know what? You know, the fact that we cleaned up our altcoin bags before this real shakeout, we basically, like, you know, for those who followed me in cleaning up the bags and stuff on the dead cat and reduce all positions, we basically dodged bag holding a major sell-off distribution cycle on altcoins. We dodged a bullet. You know, most people are probably under by at least 50% on their altcoin bags, right? So some people might not have dodged. Then if you didn't dodge it, learn from it. You know, go back to the drawing board, figure out what it is that went right, figure out what it is that went wrong. How things could have gone better, what happened in the markets, what were your reasons for holding, so on and so forth, right? What were the reasons to cut out? And, you know, you could just analyze all that stuff. Get as much value out of it as possible. Don't let a valuable lesson pass them by. And, you know, I could have been wrong, right? Like, nowhere in any of my analysis was I saying that I was right in conviction. That's the difference. I throw out a hypothesis, right? There's a lot of traders who will make these public proclamations like it's like they descended off some cloud or something, or they came back from a time machine and they're barking orders at people. Sell now! I told you to sell! Buy now! This is what's gonna happen! No. And then you watch those people being wrong. And instead of owning it and being like, yeah, I was full of it, right? They backpedal. Oh, well, I said this, but I actually meant to say, like, they're trying to save face, right? You want to be a good trader? Forget about saving face, right? You fall on your face and covered in mud. You own that. That is your mud. You own that stuff, right? Don't run away and shy from that. Don't make up excuses. Don't try to, like, pat your ego and make yourself feel better about it. Own it. Learn from it. Admit when you're wrong. Who cares, right? If you're wrong, you're wrong, right? And you learn from it. Everything is led into gold. Everything. There's no experience you could have in the market that is not a valuable lesson that can make you a better trader. If you're in denial about your own mistakes, if you're in denial about your own opinions, and you sugarcoat it, and you're too busy trying to be right, you know, then you're not going to learn, right? And you know what? Those who can say a few things, I don't know, you know, this is a possibility, it may happen, also possible that it may not happen. I'm willing to adapt given new market information. You know, those people will make the best traders, right? Those people make the best traders because those people will be fluid like the markets. You think the markets know what they're going to do next? Right? So, in my opinion, so you want to do that. So anyways, going into more of the analysis. Also, you know, thinking about who has the most to lose. Miners have the most to lose. So on and so forth. I personally don't think that Bitcoin has actually hit a full bubble yet, right? Has it done the 1, 2, 3, 4? Listen, Bitcoin could sell off on the weekend, right? It could crash down further. I'll still hold and be bullish, right? This looks like a bull pennant, in my opinion, right? Like this could continue. This could drop more and create a different type of pattern. But, you know, in my opinion, this just looks like consolidation. I've seen this kind of market behavior many, many times on continuation, right? We had it here. Right, you hit a resistance level. You have to take a pause. You have to get acquainted with this new level, right? Same with here. You know, this market could dump on the weekend. It could come all the way down here, and I'll still be bullish, right? It can have a massive sell-off all the way to this level, and I'll still be a bull, right? That would just be a throwback. Right? Retest prior resistance. Right? And I'd probably buy a dip on a big bounce play if we got that. No, I'm not selling and rebuying. I'm not playing cute with the markets. I fought hard in these trenches. I spilt blood, and I fought hard to get my position, my cheap Bitcoin. I'm not giving that up for anything. I'm not getting shaken out of the markets because we hit some resistance or we break down and I could buy cheaper. If I want to buy cheaper, I'm going to pull the trigger. I'm going to do some margin dip buying, and I'll probably just scalp the bounce play. I'll use that's what margin's for. I can just do that. But my base Bitcoin, my spot Bitcoin, I'm not getting shaken out. No, definitely not. I'm holding on to that. And you know what? If this whole thing fails and we flop all the way down to my entry point, then guess what? I go down with the ship. I burn with the ship. You know, mega bull or bust. That's my current conviction when I ride the trend. When I ride the trend, I ride the trend. Right? Give me bull or give me bust. Period. Done. Finito. Right? That's the conviction I have. So that I don't get all shaken out and fidgety and, you know, start like overanalyzing everything and freaking out. It dumped. It had a correction. Oh no, it dumped further. All is lost. Sell my bags, and then you sell it at the bottom, and then it bounces and whatever, right? Or maybe it just consolidates and creates a larger consolidation pattern. Either way, there's a time to have strong hands, and there's a time to take profit. There's a time to be cute with the market. There's a time to sell into strength. There's a time to cut out on the breakdown of the trend lines, right? And in my opinion, I am treating this right now. I am treating this like a fresh bull trend. I am treating the current move the same way I treated Bitcoin when we broke out of the all-time high, right? I'm treating it with the same type of strong hands when we were doing all this run up here. I wasn't messing around with these little consolidation patterns. Getting shaken out, shaken out, shaken out, shaken out, right? Rocky, that's a big change from your previous bearish stance. Wow, you're really bullish. Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, when I was bearish, the markets were bearish. Right? And then I flipped the switch into bull, and now the markets are bullish. So I'm fluid, right? If it's winter, I'm like water. If it's winter, I turn into ice. If it's a hot summer, I vaporize and turn into a cloud. You know, I'm fluid. I flow around the rocks, right? I change my opinions as the markets shift, right? The markets were very bearish here. You know, they were very bearish. You know, when I started feeling bearish about everything on the dead catness and this and that, like, I mean, the markets dropped. I mean, from the high to the low, the markets dropped like a good solid 38%. That's a very good reason to be bearish, in my opinion. And then since that point, the market bounced. You know, it went up like 62%. That's a pretty solid reason to be bullish. So, I mean, I am fully prepared and at one with a big sell-off right here. I'm completely okay with that if we had a big sell-off down to that level. I'd be fine with that. That's just me. Everyone's got to do what's right for them. Would I margin scalp the sell-off? I basically just use BitMEX to scalp. If I wanted to load up on a fresh swing trade, like if we sold off here, I might load up on a fresh margin dip buy swing trade. You know, if we did something like that. Retesting prior resistance levels as support or vice versa is completely natural market behavior, right? It's typical. But sometimes if something's a little too typical, sometimes you won't get that. Sometimes if everyone is expecting one thing, then maybe the market will just do the opposite. So you got to be open to that as well. So we'll see. It depends how many hungry fishies there are who want to buy some Bitcoin right now. So far, I've seen many hungry fishies gobbling up Bitcoin over the past few days. So how far of a dip can we get before all those hungry fishies on the sideline jump in for some Bitcoin, right? And the question is, will they actually buy a dip if they get it? You know, they say they want low prices, and then once the price goes low, they don't want it anymore. Then they're too scared. It's the weirdest thing in the market. Everyone's like, oh, I wish I bought Bitcoin over here. And then they get an opportunity to buy it. And then they're like, ooh, that doesn't look good. That's scary. I don't want to buy that. Okay, well, then you can buy it up here then. Your choice. You know, like, whatever. So other elements to what I'm looking at. So I was looking at the back side versus the front side of the trend, fresh momentum, so on and so forth, all that kind of stuff. But also like the fib extensions, like we pointed out in the room yesterday. You know, if you were to use a fib extension off this run up, you know, 1.618 brings us to 5K. And I honestly think that that's probably a fair, for what Bitcoin has managed to achieve in 8 years. And after seeing all these altcoins do what they do, I think that's definitely, you know, a decent level. But, you know, we definitely want to keep our eyes on the 4K level too, which has been a long-term target. But, we'll see, right? You know, it's had like prior extension levels. Let's just back test and look at prior extension levels. Okay, so obviously this extension level blew past a lot of stuff. Right? Yeah, we had resistance at 1.618, but it was too cute. And yeah, Bitcoin could still do something like that, right? It's not out of the question, you know. Like I showed before, you know. You know, some resistance, so on and so forth, right? And just looking at, like I mentioned in yesterday's update, just looking at the larger trends. Look at that green 1 week candle. Holy smokes. That is the largest green 1 day candle in the history of Bitcoin. Like that's a record breaker, 1 week candle. Wow. I think this goes down in my personal history books, my personal record, for the best dip buy I've ever bought on Bitcoin. I have never bought a dip that was this good before in my entire life. That broke a record for me. I bought dips, but usually you got to grind it for weeks. You know, you can buy a dip here, and then you grind it in weeks and weeks and weeks to get to something juicy, right? You buy a dip and then a little bounce or whatever weeks. And this was like you buy a dip and it's like rocket. Boom. Holy smokes. Okay. All right. And it's lining up beautifully with my analysis. So check this out. So, you know, I did a recap of all the trades that I did, right? But I didn't just do it as like, I also added some live future projection analysis as well, which was, and this was, well, the price is right here. And I said, if miners all lock in SegWit, then I will ride this bull for a possible V bottom all-time high breakout, fresh recharged momentum on the markets. Well, you know, we were hitting resistance when I came out with this analysis, and I've never seen a V bottom this strong before, right? Like this is a, you know, I call this, I have a new technical term for this, right? Because I feel like crypto needs some new type of TA, you know, we need some stuff, not from Wall Street, but from the crypto street, right? I call this the French curve flying uppercut. You know, or maybe we should call this the Irish flying uppercut. You know, the you know, like, you know what I mean? So I was calling a V bottom breakout over here as my live analysis. And I had so many people who, when I started posting my stuff or whatever, I had so many people arguing with me on Twitter, you know, like, oh, dead cat bounce, going back down, dead cat, going back down, it's dead cat, right? So then my response to that is like, you call it a dead cat bounce, and we were only right here when I said that. I said, you call it a dead cat bounce, I call this a flying tiger claw to the face, right? Like, so I actually kind of like it when I get people arguing about stuff. It means that there's still a lot of emotional attachment in the market to a certain outcome, right? So I like that. It's like the CNBC inverse indicator, right? It's like people start arguing with me, then I know, I'm like, please continue trolling. Add some rocket fuel to this. We know how the markets like to mess with your head. Please continue. Yes, it's a dead cat bounce. Yes, take profit. Short it, please. YOLO, do a 10x margin short, please. Just throw some gas on that fire. Anyways, so I have fun with this stuff. Obviously, I put a lot of I put market sentiment into my analysis. You know, how people act, how they behave, how they get attached, so on and so forth. You want to be a good trader, kill your attachments, right? Kill your attachments. You know, you should be attached to making profit, of course, but not to the point where that's going to paralyze you, right? So just be fluid. So just to finish and answer that question, why I digressed into all this other stuff about, like, shouldn't you cut it on the break of the descending trend line? Not if you feel that the market has recharged momentum and you're in the front side of a new bull trend. You don't cut it then. You cut it on the break when you feel when the bull trend is getting exhausted and overbought, right? And it's already gone up a ton, and you're getting closer to the backside of the trend. That is when you cut it, not on the front side. So let me give you an example. If you just religiously, blindly followed the rule, oh, it's a you know, ascending trend line that broke, I should cut it. Then look, you would have done that, you know, you would have done that right here. You would have cut it. You would have cut it right here. You know, you would have cut it. Oh, but he said prior support, turn resistance, right? Look, it's playing out perfectly, right? And then like here you would have cut it. Oh, look, see, and then look prior, look, a dead cat bounce, and then a flop. Look, cut it. And then, you know, you would have cut it here. Look, he said one simple line to cut it. I need to cut it. You know, and then you would have cut it. Then you would have cut it here and get faked out. Oh, it's over. Cut it. Oh, crap. My stop just got hunted. Right? So, like, you gotta read the market too, right? You can't just blindly like base it on those rules, right? But then there's an instant where you should cut it, right? And you come up here and it flops, like, yeah, cut out of that. Cut it. I cut it. Did you cut it? You know, or you see this other dead cat bounce and it looks like it's in the back side on the dead cat, and you're like, all right, I cut it. Or you short, right? So in my opinion, I think that this is probably just getting started. And that's it. Like, I look at it like a fresh cycle, right? Fresh, reborn, renewal, right? Natural law principles, day and night. We had a whole lot of nighttime, folks. We had a whole lot of soul searching on Bitcoin over here, right? It was a long, dark night, right? And after night comes day. You know, comes fresh. So it's like shortest bear trend ever. Well, in reality, this wasn't actually really a bear trend. In reality, this was just a correction and likely a continuation pattern. Likely just a big bear flag. Bull flag, sorry. Not really a bear trend. I mean, for full bear trend, for like absolute confirmation of a bear trend, absolute. You know, it would have to like. Well, no, it'll go up. It'll likely go up higher. And you know, a bear trend is all you gotta put it all in perspective. The longer the honey badger survives, like every bear trend is just another cycle on a bigger move up. From experience, this looked like hell, and even top buyers could have held and made money. Made ridiculous returns. I don't recommend that. I say be a trader and make more. So the overall larger trend is like almost like the stock market, you know, like every 7 years we got a big correction, and in 2009 everything fell to dust, and then everything's up even higher than it was before 2009. So I think the dynamics with Bitcoin, until we hit mass user adoption, it's just supply and demand, right? It's supply and demand. Right? There's a limited supply. If we scale and it can handle the masses, and we start to have these really cool features on Bitcoin, side chains, smart contracts, Lightning Network, atomic swaps between that and other side chain, other blockchains, decentralized exchanges, better privacy, this and this and that. You know, so that's all like very bullish fundamentals in the long term. Don't forget, there's still 99.9% of the population who doesn't even have any Bitcoin and is still sitting on the sidelines, and a bunch of people probably still don't even know about it, right? So what altcoins am I looking at? I'm I did pick up a little bit of BAT again, like I mentioned before on that dump. You know, I bought kind of, I didn't hit the bottom. I bought more like around here. But I'm not jumping into altcoins just yet unless I see some major blood on an altcoin for a nice bounce play or a serious breakout that looks like it's got some volume. I think a lot of altcoins are just kind of chopping around and possible like continuation of distribution. So until I have confirmation otherwise that altcoins start a new front side of the trend, you know, I got some CFI investment wise. Strat too high, yeah. You missed the boat on Strat in my opinion. There was a really good, you know, dip buy opportunity, but well, you know, it could break out. Actually, there's a case. It looks like it's prior support is getting tested as resistance. This would technically be a breakout point, right? So there it is possible you could get a breakout on this, right? But okay, so if you're still in from the low, then I would just ride it. I would just ride it. This could, it looks like out of all the markets, this one's definitely, you know, the most bullish type of thing. Could make another wave, but we'll see, you know, we'll see. And there you go. Some support resistance. So, thoughts on IoT long term? It looks like, you know, we're making a higher low on this as well. Hasn't had a lot of price discovery though. And just because it makes a higher low doesn't mean it's good. Look, it made a higher low here until it didn't, right? I'm staying out of this market because there's still not a lot of price discovery. So, and it's only on one exchange, although obviously there's some good trading range here. You know, like this would have been a nice bounce play. So any altcoin that I trade right now, until proven otherwise, I would probably just have shorter targets type of thing. But you know, take a peek at the various different altcoins and see if anyone. What I'm doing is I'm not going YOLO like I did on altcoins before because I still don't know if they're going to keep their correlation, right? It's possible that they could end up bleeding harder if Bitcoin breaks the all-time high, right? That's a possibility, and I don't know the answer to that yet. I'm entertaining that as a possibility. We're going to see. Yeah, they definitely flipped correlation. I see evidence of flipped correlation, which is why I want to see if we're going to see more blood if Bitcoin breaks the all-time highs. I want to see how altcoins respond to that first. Before I start pulling the trigger and loading up on alts like everyone else. Right? I want to see that first. And again, like I said, we could get a nice little weekend sell-off, and we seem to be having some sell-off right now, so which is fine. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. All right, folks, so that's it for today's market update.